Ladies, let's talk dirty, as in dirty laundry when you're traveling. There is nothing worse when you're traveling than like, oh, I just don't feel fresh in my clothes. And, there's a lot of stuff out there in cyberspace about all the things we should and shouldn't do. But you know what? I've got over 2 million frequent flyer miles of traveling with business and leisure and really long distance international travel. And I've learned to do a couple of things. One, keep it really simple. And two, don't get too precious about it. Okay? So here are some questions and tips that I run through to figure out what I'm going to do about my laundry for this specific trip, because every trip is different. Like, duh. Okay. The first thing is, how long is your stay? How many changes of clothes are you really going to need? Or how often are you going to wear them? Like, how many repeat outfits or mixing and matching? And how long do you actually have to do your laundry? Whether you're doing it yourself, whether you're, and drying it in a hotel room, whether you're in an Airbnb, or whether you're sending it out through a hotel or a local laundry service. You want to think about that, because you don't want to kind of get caught short and think, oh, how? I've got to do this. Okay, let's think about the next big thing, which is really, where will you be staying and what laundry options are you going to have available to you? And what I mean by that is, whenever I'm staying in Airbnb, whether and I tend not to do that on solo, it tends to be on girls, trips. I want to make sure that I book an Airbnb if I'm going to have some length of a stay, like a week, where I actually have a washer and dryer in the actual Airbnb. Now, hotel rooms, I think they're the most challenging, aren't they, ladies? Because it's like, do I do a DIY and do my own laundry in the room and hand wash? Do I send it out through the hotel laundry service, which I don't know about you, but I do 5-star luxury hotel stays. I fly, in pods in business class, but I still have a line about how much I'm really willing to spend on actually hotels doing my laundry. Like, when I see something like for $12 to do a bra, I'm like, get out of here. But you want to think about that. The other thing is, depending where you are, is there a local laundry service? And I don't necessarily mean you going down and sitting at the laundry and watching the machine go round and round. But what I mean by that is, is there a pickup and delivery local service? And I found those amazing, especially if you're traveling in places like Mexico, and Asia. You will always find a place that's willing to do your laundry and pick it up and drop it off. Okay? The third thing is really to think about, well, what season am I traveling in? I mean, it sounds kind of obvious, and that, you're going to be changing your clothes a lot more if you're staying in a hot tropical location. But at the same time, you may have fewer clothes because you're spending a lot of time in your bathing suit. So thinking about that, conversely, if you're traveling at a cooler time of the year, or specifically to a cooler climate, like if you're coming here where I live in Canada and you want to go up to the mountains, you're more likely to have some heavier clothes and some outer, kind of layering. And that's great because, it means you don't necessarily have to worry about that outer clothing as much as things like just basic underwear. Is this making sense? If it's adding value and you think, oh yeah, this is, hitting the light bulb with me, then do me a favor. Would you click on subscribe and subscribe so that you can get more videos like this, or like or comment? Would love to hear your feedback, love to hear your tips and ideas. Now, number 4, this is all about, what clothes are you packing and what types of fabric are in those clothes. Like, one of what seems to be a no-brainer, but at the same time I'm often in conflict with, is I don't pack big, heavy jeans because they're heavy cotton. If they are going to get dirty, like you spill something on them, walking around and eating, if you're, and just to wash and dry them, or the cost of having them done, it's just a big pain. So do avoid, big heavy clothes like that, may look great, but, it's just going to frustrate you. And the other side of that is thinking about clothes that wrinkle. And, while that may not be laundry, it does two things. One, taking them in and out of your bag. But if you do have to have them laundered or you're hand washing them, I know I wear a lot of linen. In fact, I'm wearing a linen shirt today, and I travel to hot climates with a lot of linen and light cotton. Now, it wrinkles like crazy. But I'm going to go back to the top of this video where I talked about don't get too precious. If I'm wearing linen somewhere, it's chances are I'm in a hot climate, as I said, and a lot of other people are also wearing linen and they're looking equally wrinkled. Okay, so you're good on those kind of things, but I would watch out for things like heavy cottons. Like, I know, again, it's tempting to put in a really nice cotton sweater, but if it's heavy cotton, that is going to be super hard to dry. And also, you risk if you get it sent out and someone else is laundering it for you, like, is it going to come back, like kitty size because they've shrunk it because it's natural fiber. So you do want clothes that are easy to wear, easy to dry, which leads us on to, well, Raymond, if I do a little bit of DIY, do-it-yourself laundry in my room or wherever I'm staying, what about all the bits and pieces I should take to be able to hang clothes to dry? Okay, this is where I keep it super simple. I've tried things over the years like the fancy little hangers and the inflatable ones, and I've taken pegs, to pin my clothes. And I've just given up on that, and I keep it really simple, because if you need to hang something out, like you're going to hand wash, a pair of knickers or a bra or something like that, there's always somewhere in the place you're staying to hang it, whether that's just draping it over an ironing board or, chances are you will have a couple of hangers in a closet, so you can pull those out and hang them up over a door. I've hung them in showers, over the shower door. I've hung them over the back of the chair that's sitting at the desk that's in your room. So I really do not take a bunch of stuff, because I'd rather have the clothes, or I'd rather have space to buy gifts and take them home. Okay? Now, when you do have things that wrinkle and you're wanting to iron them, there's a couple of things you can do. One, you can get, pretty clever about your packing with tissue paper, rolling, are good ways that will actually protect your clothes. But again, chances are that if you need an iron, if you're staying in an Airbnb, you have to watch out for those kind of things. If you're in a reasonable hotel, and my number one mantra, ladies, is do stay in a good quality hotel, a 4 or 5 star if you're traveling solo and traveling solo over the age of 50. There are just so many reasons why. And actually, if you want to know some of those reasons, check out the video that I've got in the description below here to go see what I mean by that. And trust me, it's not a cost issue in actually having that. It pays off in so many other ways. But anyway, I'll save that for when you actually look at that. Okay, let's get back to, if you've got an iron, you're good to go. There's most things you can do. But also, if you're hand washing, in a basin, I'm particularly going to go there to the hand washing thing, because let's face it, ladies, I know for myself, even when I'm staying in a 5-star hotel, I am not going to send out small items like, underwear. I'm going to hand wash them. It's just where my budget line is. I don't know what it is, but it's just there. Okay. Things wrinkle like heck, and it's hard to wring out, and often your sinks, like the actual plugs don't work well at all. Not a problem. The number one thing I do if I have to hand wash in a sink is I use the towels to then put the damp item that I've washed, and I roll it up and I wring that out, and it takes so much of the moisture out. Okay. One thing I do is I do take a little soap bar with me, just a little kind of guest one. I always have that in my bag for 2 reasons. One, you're never quite sure about the quality of the soaps and things, although when I've been desperate, I've used hair shampoo, trust me. I will do what I need to do to feel fresh as a daisy in my clothes. Anyway, so I do take a bar of soap because that's handy for, just washing, and actually sometimes, even in good quality hotels, I like to have my own soap. So that's something I do. The other thing I do pack is a couple of, now I'm going to say brand here, but bounce sheets, your dryer sheets that stop the static, etc., and make your clothes smell all fresh and lovely. I do pack a couple of those in a little plastic bag. And the reason I do that is not that I'm going to have a dryer typically where I'm drying, although I will if I'm in an Airbnb. But more importantly, I can slip those dryer sheets between clothes. So if something that I've been wearing is kind of getting a little off, but I'm going like, oh, I've only got 2 days left, I don't have time to wash it, but I know I'm going to need to wear it again, then I'll just actually slip the bounce sheets in between there and just actually freshen things up, like using deodorant. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to be lying on the floor, rolling around, laughing your backsides off with this one. And it's courtesy of my husband. And at first, when he first told me this, I was just so grossed out. But over the years as I've traveled, I've taken his input and modified it a little. So the worst case scenario, he said, Raywin, if I need to clean, have clean clothes, I'll just stand in the shower in them. And I go, oh, really? But there's actually some validity in that. So speaking of which, I was recently in a very tropical location for 5 weeks, and it was a 5-star luxury accommodation. Amazing. But again, I really balk. It's just a personal thing. I really balked at the prices for sending out my laundry, especially when I could see like about, a few kilometers away was an actual little local ma and pa laundry shop that would actually do it for like, a tenth of the price. So I did a combination of sending out, picking up, packing, picking up, dropping off. I also did a combination of like some really heavy items that I needed at the end of my trip again to travel home. I did get the hotel to do those because that was like, okay, I'm overpaying, but it's not like I'm overpaying by, 4,000% for having a bra washed and dried. Now, the third thing I did is I did do hand washing. And I had this huge bathroom. It was more Balinese style. So it had the wooden slats, and the shower coming down. It was gorgeous. So there I am, not standing in my clothes, but I took some of my clothes and I was able to wash them more comfortably in that environment than trying to do it in the hand sink. And, so I was able to really get them rinsed out well, and it worked. So bottom line, I'm going to come back to ladies with these hot tips on doing your dirty laundry, is make it simple. Don't take a bunch of stuff with you. Don't be precious, and I mean precious down to where and how you get your laundry done, to including continuing to wear sometimes clothes, even if it might be, kind of a little borderline versus when you would actually get them done at home. Because you want the focus, as always, to be on this amazing trip and having the experience of a lifetime, creating the memories, because ladies, you deserve it.